and there's many games ahead of you. If you're just joining us, we're kicking off our first of 3 Erangels, back to back to back. Now, yesterday, this is where we saw some utter shenanigans time and time again. Is it going to be the same sort of situation, or will things be different here for day 2 of Group Green? Group Green, rather. Whoa, blank. Let's get it.
I'm usually going to drop it at black and be like, I'm going to save you, bro. I've got the rope. I've got the rope, dude. It's not green. It's fully brown. We're all good to go. Don't worry about it. But we're heading over towards ERANGEL to start things up on our back-to-back, like you say, Jackie. Pasija Evos right now, 3rd place. Great stuff from the Indonesian squad. Like you say, I think that the important thing you brought up was the fact that this team gels any format they want to bring to the table in terms of their roster, so they can switch people in and out depending on what they want to get done. Right now, I feel like what they tend to do here on ERANGEL is they like to feel a Luxie and Zuxi Misery Redface roster. That works out quite well for them. So we'll see what they're able to do with this. Heading up towards Yasnai, we know they have this clean 2 themselves. It gives them a real good opportunity going forward. Obviously, some of their rotations do have to be fairly quick off the bat, but they've got no problem there.
Boy, oh boy. The group of death and fake colors. That's what we're in right now.
Oh, you mean made up colors. We're creating a whole new genre.
A whole new world. But this is something we've seen time and time again. As we're back to the basics on this one, Pra Esport up against DX. It's not stopping, which means we're probably going to get it for another 2 games in a row as well. So let's see who can pick up the first. I think in a total tally right now, I'd say they're about 1-1, and then there was 1 game that no one really won. So I'd say we're at 1 apiece at the minute between these 2.
Yeah, it did feel like DX Xavier had a bit of the upper hand, though, to be honest with you. And I'd just give them that extra little 0.5 points towards them, just on the sense that the way they're playing is to actually get points on board after the bout that occurs towards the arena that is Pachinki at the moment. So I do believe that right now DX has the better chance and also looks better in the engagement. I do like the way they quickly turtle up in some of these scenarios, really bait Bra into a false sense of security. And again, it's the same situations that Bra keeps falling into, which is getting one player taken down by utility when they get impatient, which seems to be a reoccurring trend for this team, where they just want to send it over towards a building, run in, just tapping the feet all the way, going 60 miles per hour, but they immediately crash into the wall that is DX Xavier a lot of times. So I think that for DX, they're playing the right style to counter what Bra is currently bringing to the table over in Pachinki. I love the observers aren't even bothering with it right now. They know that it's going to go on for a while, so let's show a little bit more of the map, which I always like to see.
You know, there's one of the observing team just watching it, like eagle-eyed, like if something kicks off, we'll check it out. For now, let's see what's actually happening. Because it was a solid maybe 50% of our screen time yesterday, because it just did not stop. It was the hot drop talk of the town that we were constantly tuning in with, just to see if there would be a different outcome, if anyone would finally give up the goose before it gets out of hand. This time around, it's a little bit more fragmented. We've already brought esports starting to double back and give up the space that's taken. So actually willing to not fight to their demise, willing to rotate off. That's an adaptation we did not see yesterday.
Here we go. That's that single brain cell going, no, bad idea, bad idea.
Now, leave
now, escape. So yeah, good job to them. And it does feel like, yeah, they've taken the northern side. They went towards church. They got some loot on board. And Ruins is fairly free a lot of times at the start of this game. It's not the greatest loot in the world, let's be honest. If anyone's headed towards Ruins in chat, you know, you tell me it's horrid, but it will get you forward. With the little bit of loot they've already got on board from Pachinki at the start there, it certainly should be enough to push them into the rest of the game. They also understand that it's not a bad time to be leaving if they're already on that northern side, particularly because we did get that circle very hard up towards that northwest, supporting both Gladiators as well as A7, who are currently on your screen. Right now, this is the team with some of the highest average damage in the entirety of the lobby, doing extremely good for themselves. Revo still a force to be reckoned with after many, many moons of these tournaments. He's doing really, really well, and I respect that he has not let up in terms of that momentum.
And momentum was a big key word that we were talking about yesterday because it really can do wonders for you. You know, if you can start with the right foot forward, feed the hot hand with some of the players that need a bit of confidence in the early hours of the day, need a bit of confidence with hitting shots, warm into it a bit more, you can project yourself so much further into games. I think that could honestly be one of the reasons why potentially for Gladiators we see a better day from them, just purely because into yesterday, it was back-to-back affair where it feels like it's all gloomy. You're not quite getting to really play the game. You're not quite really getting to flex those fingertips, right? Whereas today, instant drop, instant shots, instantly warming up and thinking, yeah, okay, mechanically, we can make something out of this. We can get into this. This is the other side of the coin for the two rotates, of course, where we saw DX go one way, and they've ended up just on the lip outside of Pachinki, fighting for control of the hill, where Rejects have pulled up. Rejects losing a man early as it seems like someone's taken a bit of a hefty hit, and Parajin's roaming in to try and support the rest of the squad, whilst Rejects just clean up on that one. Oh no, it's Sarah Biceps as well.
Sarah Biceps out of the way is a horrible, horrible bit of news for us to hear about. I don't like that at all. I enjoyed that one. Maybe you can get flexing in the old player booth for the rest of his team. Give them some strength to move on now that he's no longer gripping onto his phone there. But for DX, that's decent. You know, they cut off a rotate that would be going through their area anyway, gives them a bit more space heading up towards that northwest side. So I do think that this is going to be overall net positive for DX. Obviously, Bra is already in towards the circle. I think a lot of the plays that we've seen from DX have come from the fact that they've already made a good rotation and they're great at holding down these buildings. I'm curious to see how it works where they're wearing the shoes of we've got to get into the circle and we've got to break our path in. So what do they do in that situation? And we'll just have to find out. We won't know right now as we're going to be looking at a couple other teams. Procedure Evos currently making their rotate from Yasnaya just underneath Severny right now. One of the few teams to be heading over towards that northern side of the island. Last time we saw a circle like this here in the league stage of Group Green, we saw it head over towards that northern edge. So potentially Procedure Evos gets thrown another bone.
Did you say Geen wrong?
Yeah, I did. Sorry. It is Group Geen.
See, you can't even say it wrong on purpose. It really takes
Geen.
Takes a bit of an effort. Oh, mate. Whew, bloody hell. Oh, that's tickled me. That's good. That's good. I tell you what also has tickled my fancy over the past few days. Quest. Yeah, they've been pretty impressive to watch in some of the situations.
Yeah, up and down.
Yeah, man, it really does feel like, you know, honestly, for a side that's kind of had to fight from the mud in sense of like a lot of their rotations have felt a bit uncomfortable. You're kind of always playing from a bit of an off position. The angles they're kind of utilizing are a bit weird. They're hitting their shots and they're being able to pick up the pieces and at least project themselves in towards the upper echelons of a good majority of our games. So they've accumulated a fair amount of points, and if this is something they can remain consistent with, because we've been saying, you know, with the point vacuum that has been Stalwart, there's a lot of opportunities to get yourself out of that danger zone. And I think that's the one key thing at the minute for a lot of these teams is just maintain clearance of not having to worry about the potential danger zone of where you might end up going into tomorrow. Day 3 is a whole different story to where we are right now. Kind of feels like we're still in the land of opportunity for day 2. Yep. Once you get into day 3, Blank, I feel like the pressure's really going to start nipping at you.
Yeah, day 3 is sort of stressy Bessie. That is not fun at all, where you really do need to put some points. For some teams, that's about securing their position to the PMGC Grand Finals with their top 3 spots. For other teams, it's a case of, can we set ourselves up to maybe, potentially, leapfrogging towards that top, in towards 11th place and beyond to try and get towards a survival stage, you know? Yeah, it's not the ideal scenario, but you do need to still get yourself into that springboard position to take over, to try and maintain your legacy here in PMGC 2023. But for Quest, you're right. I did like the way they've been playing. You know, they were in a bit of a depression arc yesterday, but constantly providing themselves a little bit of therapy here and there, dragging themselves back out, getting some points on board, and getting an 8th place off the back of that. I think at one time they were around about 5th as well, despite it looking pretty bad some of the games. That is a great mentality to have, and I'm extremely pleased that they didn't just fall on their face like some other teams. You're right, though, there was some real gloomy scenarios for some of these other squads in the lobby where it was just so impossible to pull themselves out of that quagmire. I mean, Gladiators in particular, but it looks like that they've had a full reset coming today and another great rotation from them. I mean, we look at where they are currently on the map. Yesterday, they just sat around in the compound that currently Bra is holding in, and then they've just sent directly up towards shooting range this time around. You know, they decided that the circle goes even a little bit north. It's better to have a pretty rubbish position on the northern side that you can potentially hold out for later to break inwards than it is just to let the game happen.
It's a lot more proactive. And I think that's really the one thing that we could ask for from them. You know, we wanted to see a change. We wanted to see them trying to play to their strengths. And at least this is a stepping stone. This is a starting point. Oh, wow. That is deadly. Wow. Rosemary and co. Just absolutely ready. Lip ripping on the P because they're able to just bully him, really.
Guess I won't peek that.
Yeah, he's just given up. Fair play. That's one way to handle it. Okay, Falcon's going for a little bit of a crash here as well, it seems, as they're trying to force out control of the compound. Nade's going every which way but where, sort of like the Great Glass Elevator. Six going to be able to make his move around towards the balcony side, but it seems like the bonnet has done some damage as the car's impact will silence one of them. So numbers dwindling quick as Falcons swoop in to gain control.
Yeah, I think Six is just a real ideal player on that squad. But look at this. Tiamba actually decide that after QZZ got absolutely obliterated on its peak around the rock, they just sent in. They decided they don't want teams thinking that they're an easy target. Even with their slow but wide rotates, they don't want teams thinking that they can just be held out every single time. So a nice little crash there and a little bit out of character there for Tiamba, for a team that likes to play their way in towards very much that late game and then starting getting involved with a lot of these fights. That's a really nice play. And it's very promising to me for the future of this team. Currently in 11th place, not a huge amount of points on board, but they were consistently putting up points yesterday. They weren't huge points, but they have kept themselves in the running.
And finally, a couple of fights across the board starting to develop. There are no full squad wipes really. It's just more damage done in terms of some of the squads. Obviously, Reject Tokyo were the first to suffer into this one as they've lost 2 players. Alter Ego as well, a little bit slow to the burn today. First game was unfortunate with Gladiators just being able to punish them off the back of the drop. Again, here now you're down to just a duo, so we'll see how they handle that and what they can do to build back into it. Stalwart on the rotate off. Been spotted, trying to trace here outside of the window, putting bullets down range, but they've got 3 vehicles to play with and breeze their way past to regroup and set up towards the hillside with a lot more control in terms of the zone.
Yeah, man, you just want to get into position for this team at this point. Icy's already scouting ahead, providing a little bit of a base camp to get towards in the future. And for Stalwart, they don't really want to fight Malise from that position. If they can get up towards this spot, towards this compound, now they're playing on an even footing where they're both on this ridge. Stalwart even opts to head a little bit further into the circle, get ahead of Malise Esports, who have been really stuck on this eastern side. Pazija Ethos, they've held a very central position for a long time. We saw them being one of the first teams to head over towards this northern side very early on from Yasnaya. It has paid dividends, currently in a nice spot to play out the rest of their game, while some of their players are still just having a little bit of scout around, just having a cheeky peek, see what they can see. Currently, I think loops have been spotted for them, are up towards the northern edge. We'll see what they can do about that, but I do believe that it's going to be this edge side of this circle that is going to be the real game changer for a lot of these teams, because you're heading out into really awkward zones to play in where you want to be able to remove some of these threats from your back. And I like the way that Stalwart set themselves up to try and clear out at least a little bit of this eastern side. I think Malise just let them in.
Open the door, see if they can slam it on them afterwards. Everyone's on the move now as well, encroaching closer towards the latest circle. Gladiators could be in a bit of a position to punish here as well. This will be a bit of an interesting watch, actually, with the squads that are coming over. It's Quest that are on our screens here, though, and Bra Esports going up in a puff of smoke, mate. That's a full squad wipe in a matter of seconds. First to go down. So even when they don't clash to the death for control of Pachinki, it still goes wrong.
Quest threw that bullet before they walked in the room. I mean, Bra just instantly fall down. That is depressing news for Bra. Again, another 0-point game on ERANGEL. And their prospects going into the PMGC Grand Finals or even survival stage are looking pretty slim now. Kitsune does take a knock on that northwest side, but Falcons just taking on absolutely everybody at the moment, just pecking their way through the order towards the top of the tables. A7 go down with Mafioso out, leaving them at 3 players for a team that wants to be chasing for that first place spot to really secure their position towards the finals. That's not ideal. That's not fun at all.
No, something's got to start changing soon. Got to get back into the groove of things because time is ticking away, not just in the game, but in the grand scheme of things here for day 2. And of course, that's the halfway mark. Once this one's all said and done, your opportunity is a far lot less than it was just at the start of yesterday. Nades in the back pocket here for Falcons. Being shot down, though, from the distance. Redface getting stuck in to see what he can do to assist his teammates that are up close. You've got Lufa off towards the distance inside of the tree line as well, looking to pepper where possible, playing around a single smoke. You've got a little bit of utility in the back pocket for Falcons, but doing too much on this is really just at the mercy of the other side. If Evos give you time to breathe, they have backed off and let the fight reset a little bit, but you've got to waste a lot of defensive utility to shroud yourself from Alpha 7. Alpha 7, that honestly, Blank, this is probably the game where they want to come alive. They were good on the Erangels, so if they can start farming up those points again here, they'll be licking their lips.
And with Stalwart on this eastern side just caught in an absolute mess of teams at the moment, it's going to be hard for them to push through. They're practically surrounded. They're like the kid being bullied in the playground. And honestly, I don't know how easy it's going to be for them to get out. So far, there's been some banging nades from Quest over towards Mad Balls, but finally, they clap back just a little bit. Zerich is out, the main man himself. So now just 3 players versus 3 as more nades just pour through the window. Luckily, box compound, you can play in pretty much all 3 buildings with 2 stories on each. Makes it a bit hard to predict exactly where these players are going to be.
Oh, straight through the smoke, shots landing as Fleek at least finds one to slow down the oncoming assailants of Quest. Frozen assisting as well, connects back onto Easy. You've got high ground control supporting Tulika and Frozen off the back of the 2-pronged peak. They farm their way through them. So Quest stopped dead in their tracks on that one with only 5 eliminations to their name here on the first outing of Erangel. And for Mad Balls, at least, Blank, a fight they had to survive. They needed to weather the storm on that one. You can reset from it. They've got a bit of spacing. They won't be thrown into another fight anytime soon. Then they can start to beeline it towards the zone. But the fight across the board does not end. Stalwart still locked into a clash of combat. A7, they've been trying to shut this one down for quite some time, and finally they push up with a DBS and we see a connection onto the face. Double nades thrown out as well to buy a little bit of spacing.
Yeah, A7's been balling up. They've been taking the punches, but they've been rolling with them as well. It's been really nice to see. Matic, though, a long-range shot there over towards one of the players from A7 is beautiful. But still, with 2 players up, there is still a chance for A7. They keep dropping smokes over towards Carrillo, but I don't think Pazija Evos is going to let up. This is where Gladiators could let out the Lion's Roar, though, and maybe go for themselves a third party. The question is, was that first game enough of a confidence booster to give them that idea?
How much confidence is in the tank across the board? What's going to affect the outcome on this one? Tiamba running through the smokes, firing warning shots off as they're able to pick their way through some of the last remaining members to shut down another squad. Meanwhile, you've still got aggression coming out, though. As the loops are thrown into things, it seems that actually the bonnet is connected.
Wow.
And potentially they can close the gap in terms of distance on this, as they're going to roam up, pick them dry, and then see how they can build from this one. So Tiamba going from good to bad in a matter of seconds.
Lufa off the distance. Chiefla can take him down, but Lufa's causing problems not only for Matic and Gladiators. causing problems for Loops, and they realize they need to get rid of him ASAP. But now Loops, after hearing and seeing that knock in the elimination feed, they might look to rotate round, try and clear off the gladiators from this side. Carrillo sees over towards Tixie and Kitsune, currently just playing as a duo. Tixie's down, but Mad Balls, in fact, getting in the mix, giving gladiators a little bit more breathing room.
It's a two-licker. It's a huge connection onto Sunab. And like you say, it might just create enough space for gladiators to attempt the getaway. They put the pedal to the metal and drove out of there with the vehicles they had stashed close by. So again, playing off of that spacing. Some big names still alive at this point. Circle getting smaller, but a ton of talent in the center of it all. Matic running low on ammo, throws in the reload, sees what he can do. Mini 14 in the back pocket, AR to play with up close. Flique still finding shots as well as I8 are gone.
There's a lot of teams that still feeling extremely fat when it comes to player count right now, but Gladiators losing players left, right, and center, and Meku as well as Matic have to step up in this scenario. That is a bold push coming through from Matic. A nade already hit over towards that area. One more will take him down if he doesn't get the heal off, and in comes the crash over towards him. He has to be clean on this, but that DBS is looking deadly, but Matic's still going. Meku has to help.
This is ridiculous. Meku, he's got to turn into the mech suit Mandem and go absolutely huge in a spot like this. He needs to be the difference maker. His teammates have been run down, hit by the buggy, and then spanked by the DBS. Ooh, shot back across. It looks like that's landed onto him, and Gladiators have been cleaned up off the back of it. Man, that's a rough affair. It almost looked like he had completely missed him on the initial crash with the vehicle as well. But they saved their bacon, finding the two pickups and finished them off. Alpha 7, though, still in it to win it, trying their best to be a nuisance maker from their side. But they're cleaned up, unable to strike against Evo sufficiently.
And look at that, Alpha 7 dropping into 4th place now with Procedure Evos in 2nd. And quietly but consistently, Loops has managed to get himself into a 3rd place with 7 eliminations on this game. We can't count the Mad Balls though. 7 eliminations of their own. They've really had a good step up here. And from some very similar locations where they have been held out, where they have been breakneck through. Like, I think this is good news for the Mad Balls. They're doing quite well off the back of it. Procedure Evos, long way to go. Loops currently holding the high ground, going to be tough to push up towards them. Chief already hitting a nasty shot over towards Luxie, will lay him down.
Oh, Chief warming up now. And Loops, it feels like the whole squad's starting to pass the baton a little bit more. In the past, it was Ayala that was making great plays, Mythic stepping up where necessary, but now all 4 of them are getting to grasp with it. They're coming out swinging into day 2. A smoke screen ahead of them, fighting downhill. Redface peaks up with anger as he'll battle back onto 1, takes out Mythic, readjusts with the SMG, peppering bullets towards the tree. Chief waiting for the attack. Nades exchanged as the Molotov burns the grass all around him. He's got to do something quick on this. Tries to close the distance blank. The double pump comes out and takes down Redface.
I mean, that was a nice play there from him, trying to get the nade, trying to get a utility through, but I think Redface, with the mechanical skill he's got on board, probably could have just gone for the dry fight there between him, but a lot of players on that side from Loops does make a lot of commotion happen. Mad Balls looking for some more, though. Zuxi gets knocked out there from them. Just misery now from Procedure Evos, trying to push this game as far as they can, but it is Chief, once again, to lock it down on this upper side.
The big chieftain, he's got the lay of the land right now. Everyone is following his rule as he is giving it the big one. Nerzed with a nade as well, dashing it out, and they're feeling the pain. DX just getting demolished right now. Tops and Nerzed blank. They want to top those stats once again. The crash comes in. Look at him go. He's an absolute lunatic. He is in their grill.
Up front and personal, has a shotgun to work with, gets sent around the side though and is dealt. Honestly though, the confidence coming through from this lad is off the charts. It's almost unacceptable behavior what he's pulling out here. Frozen peeks out for a second, but now position known. 3 teams remaining, 2 at 4 players alive, but DX all trapped in the shack. It's not looking too happy. I go lucky for this team, and Mad Balls right at the bottom of the hill. They've got a long climb upwards. Let's see if they can pull it off.
Mad Balls, they're low on util. They don't have too much to work with in terms of defensive utility. You're looking at the smoke count and it's at a dead 0. DX grouped up, all of them together. Sure, that can be effective for trades, but a single nade could blow their hopes and dreams away in a spot like this. Chief and Co. watching downhill as well. Loops, they've got a good split here. Nice comms, able to focus on both team pushes at once so they can put bullets down range onto Mad Balls from a distance with the DMRs and keep DX trapped in position, playing this one out to try and take them down in a raw team fight if they can finish Mad Balls.
Circle moves down the hill though. A great little blessing for both the Mad Balls and DX. But like you say, a nade could spell absolute disaster for the guys on DX. There's still 12 in the back pocket. 5 Molotov to burn them out of position. For Mad Balls, they're slowly but surely just losing more members. Try to go in for the rescue, for the save over towards Tulika. But Loops still aren't having none of it. They have got such good control over this map. Just absolutely clutching both teams by the neck right now. So hard to do anything.
Tulika gets licked up. Man's gone for good on that one. And it gets a whole lot harder to play off the back of this now. Mad Balls, numbers dwindling. DX, they've been sitting pretty this entire time, just playing off of one another. A single nade could be the difference of you being even in this situation at all anymore. Lamborghini was the only one that had pushed slightly further forward, but now they're starting to fan out a little bit, trying to encroach a little bit more out of their comfort zone. Chief's attention taken by Mad Balls. All the time in the world on this one.
I think Loops realise just how much of a danger Mad Balls are to them because they can't really effectively assault this location. If a case of Mad Balls are able to take shots of them as they push inward, but Chua makes a terrible mistake, just laid down outside the shack, visible. Fleek still, once again, hitting some mad shots over towards Mythic, who's been holding them down this spot for a long, long time. Right now, he's struggling to peek outwards. Lamborghini, similarly, trying to get Chua into a position where they can pick him back up again. That nade scarily close to the small windowsill to move through, but that one will take down Chua. But there is a knock in return.
It's a big trade back, actually. This could give them a leg to stand on. This could give you an opportunity to fight. Look at the nades coming out. One by one, dashing them in, trying to keep them uncomfortable, playing off the back of the timing. They know that he's got to reload eventually, forced to fall back because of the contact with the nade blank. They silence him. He's gone. Space being taken now. Lamborghini flanking towards the right.
Biding their time, locking this one up, just waiting for them to get close enough to send these nades through. But it's Mad Balls. Fleek, he's still in the picture right now. Frozen underneath. He's at the barest edge of the circle, has to push in as the circle moves back up towards that northern side. Loops, as well as DX, still locked in combat. Mythic, desperately trying to take care of these players underneath, but they have held on for so long. Unluckily, though, Frozen is now down. I think Fleek might be next. They go out with 9 eliminations. Now it's between Loops and DX, both looking for a higher prize on the tables, but an amazing nade from Ayala will strike down 2.
Levi's has got to clutch it. It's all down to this man now. What level of lethality can Levi's pull out? Look at the peaks. He's slick with it, but he's not slick enough as Mythic will claim it and Loops lock it down with a chicken dinner as the high fives come out. They can celebrate on that one.